What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Thursday edition of the show, where normally, in this time of year, I'd be telling you we have a lot of Tennessee football to talk about, because that's what we've done the last few weeks. But due to certain circumstances around Tennessee athletics, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. We have a lot of Tennessee baseball to talk about today, following the departure of Tony Vitello. A lot has gone on in the last week. It's been kind of a sad last few days revolving Tennessee baseball. Confusing last few weeks, going on with the scrimmage, the early reports on this past Saturday of Tony Vitello leaving, and then him officially leaving on Thursday. It's been a long few days for Tennessee fans. Obviously, the Alabama loss in football, and then this, Tennessee's one of the best, if not the best, baseball program in the country, and now they lose their manager to the MLB. We are going to talk about all of that today. We're also going to have an episode tomorrow on Friday. Don't think I forgot about football. I don't usually have episodes on Friday, but again, with so much going on around the world of Tennessee sports, we're going to have two episodes back-to-back, Thursday and Friday, kind of like what happened with Nico Iamaleava this past summer, where there was just so much to talk about that we had to keep pumping out episodes, and I want to make sure you guys are updated on all of it. So today, it could be a little bit of a shorter episode, depends on how much I want to ramble, and we'll talk about Tennessee baseball, and then tomorrow we're going to talk about football, but we're also going to talk about basketball. Tennessee athletics, I wasn't lying when I said there was a ton of stuff going on in the world of Tennessee athletics. Obviously, a game for football this Saturday at Kroger Field against Kentucky, a little rivalry action there. And then Sunday, Tennessee has an exhibition in Thompson Bowling, sold-out game for the exhibition. Will be on ESPN as well. It's crazy what they've done for exhibitions as of late against Duke, one of the best teams in the country. So just so much to talk about. But today, like I said, we are focused on baseball and Tony Vitello and all of that. Before we get into any of it, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, share it, all of that good stuff. Make sure you guys are followed to the socials. And also, again, if you love Tennessee sports, make sure you're back tomorrow on Friday, where, like I said, we will have a lot of other Tennessee athletics-related stuff, football and basketball, to talk about. So, let's just jump right into it. There's no beating around the bush. This feels, I have no love lost for Tony Vitello. What he's doing, he's making history. He's the first hired manager to have no experience at the MLB level, didn't play there, none of that. He's the first ever to go to one of the most storied and historic franchises in MLB history in the San Francisco Giants. He's got Drew Gilbert over there, man. It seems like a match made in heaven for him. Again, everybody has aspirations to get to that level. There's only so many spots as an MLB manager. It's the best of the best in that field. You cannot blame Tony Vitello. It's kind of one of those situations where our fish got too big for our pond, and there's no denying that Tony Vitello is one of the better coaches, regardless of sport, in the history of Tennessee athletics. He had 52 players drafted in his times here, 10 first-round picks, 341 wins, 2 SEC regular season titles, 2 SEC tournament titles, 5 regional championships, 3 College World Series berths, and 1 national championship 2 years ago. Very memorable. That's the only national championship that Tennessee has won in a major sport since I've been alive, and I'm 18 years old. I know that a lot of my viewers are kind of around that age range, and even if they're not, it's been a while since Tennessee has won one. Regardless of sport, obviously basketball hasn't even been to the Final Four, all that good stuff. We're not going to sit here and harp on basketball, but no doubt about it, Tennessee was brought back to prime baseball. Tony Vitello brought Tennessee baseball back to what it is today, one of the best programs, again, if not the best program in college baseball. They have had 2 years in a row worth of number 1 recruiting classes in the country. They're on track to have it this year right now, sitting at 3rd for the 2026 class. Who knows what that will turn out like without Tony Vitello? Depends on who they hire. We'll talk about who I think they should hire and who most Tennessee fans think that they should hire later on in the show. But, it all ultimately goes back to how upsetting it is that he's going to leave. Because, again, that goes on to recruits, and that goes on to how good this team's going to be if some of these guys are going to transfer that are here right now. And I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. Again, there's no love lost with Tony Vitello, but you just have to get the sense after the rumors that have gone on and swirled around Tennessee athletics in the last few days about him and Danny White butting heads over the last few months. Danny White had this to say after Tony officially took the job. Congratulations to Tony on this incredible opportunity to lead the San Francisco Giants. We wish him the best as he embarks on his new chapter in his career and thank him for everything he has done to transform Tennessee baseball into a championship program. Now, I've talked on this show multiple times how I love Danny White. He has Tennessee athletics at an all-time high, but there is no doubt that the speculation around him and Tony Vitello butting heads, him taking NIL money from the baseball team to give it to the Lady Vols, a.k.a. give it to Kim Caldwell, who is one of Danny White's hires. I believe that. I'm not telling you that, hey, I'm the reliable source, believe me, but I'm going to tell you right now, I believe that. I've had some reliable people tell me that, but I fail to believe that this comes down to NIL money being taken because, one, all that takes is calling a booster and saying, hey, we need this money, and I'm Tony Vitello, and I have the number one baseball team in the country. I think that gets figured out. I also think that with Adidas around the corner next year, who's about to hand Tennessee a blank check, I find it hard to believe that this is a money thing. Tony Vitello, on a personal level money-wise, he's going to make less money as the manager of the Giants when it's all said and done with California taxes being gruesome. He's going to make less money as a manager for the Giants than he is here at Tennessee. But again, I think with Adidas around the corner next year, and he's going to in theory, Adidas could have handed Tony Vitello a blank check and said, let us know how much it is. Because that's what they're going to do with football. It's no coincidence that you sign with Adidas and then Tristan Keys commits a week later. I think they're going to do that with basketball, which if you guys don't really understand how basketball works recruiting-wise, there are two major circuits. There's a couple, but they're shoe circuits, and EYBL and 3SSB are the two best. EYBL being the Nike, 3SSB being the Adidas. There's a lot of really good players that come from both of those. Under Armour has their own circuit, New Balance, Reebok, all that good stuff. They have smaller ones, Puma. I don't even know if Reebok has one. I was thinking of Puma. They have ones, but not near as big as Nike and Adidas, just kind of like everything else. For example, two of Tennessee's highest recruits this past year, Nate Ament played on 3SSB, Troy Henderson played on 3SSB, Will Meadows played on 3SSB. Not that that matters, but I did. Not that that matters at all because I'm 5'8" and white and not playing for the Tennessee Volunteers. But that's going to help a lot with basketball recruiting as well. I think it's going to help a ton with baseball recruiting. So again, I don't think this comes down to money. I think that this has a case to be made as one of the bigger fumbles that we've seen in college sports in the last few years. I think that Danny White let Tony Vitello walk because he has a lot of pride and he's done a great job. This is not a jab at Danny White. I still do think it's a fumble to let him leave because he's the best coach in college baseball, in my opinion. I think that Danny White is very not caught up, but he likes the pride in Danny White. He loves being the guy to hire said coach and then being really good. We saw it with Josh Heupel coming from UCF. There was a lot of big names swirling. Josh Heupel was not one of them. He was definitely a candidate, but Josh Heupel had only a few years under his belt at UCF, coming off of UCF being really stinking good. In the Scott Frost days when they were, they won Alabama. They have their so-called national championship where they went and won the Fiesta Bowl that year. UCF was still good with Josh Heupel, but not near as good as it kind of had been in years past. A lot of people were, didn't know how to feel about the Josh Heupel hire. Look how that's turned out. Josh Heupel, in my opinion, we can say what we want, especially coming off of this past weekend against Alabama, what he does on the road, how good his game management is. Josh Heupel is a top 5 to 10 coach in college football. That's why the people who say, fire Josh Heupel absolutely baffle me. Not only because it's just plain dumb, but who the heck are you going to hire that's not Josh Heupel? You know what I'm saying? So that it's been an incredible hire by Danny White. Kim Caldwell, who's now the Lady Vols coach. They have the number 1 recruiting class in the country. They are recruiting at a very high level. It's 5-star after 5-star. Was another one of kind of just the out of nowhere. I don't want to say out of nowhere because Kim Caldwell was a good coach, only had a few years under her belt at Marshall, a very low-level Division I school. That was one of Danny White's hires, and he is going to make sure Kim Caldwell is good by getting her all the funding that she needs, and Kim Caldwell is a dang good coach. Like, I think the Lady Vols will be right up back to, I'm not going to say the Pat Summitt days, but they're going to be in national contention in the next few years, in my opinion. And I don't even follow, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys, I don't follow the Lady Vols as a consistent fan. I think that it came down to Danny White's pride. I think Tony Vitello has a lot of pride. And I think that Tony Vitello didn't necessarily want to leave. I think he just got tired of having to deal with Danny White. And I think that Danny White just let him walk. And I think that that could go down. I hope it doesn't. I'm not saying that it will. But it could. It has the potential to go down as one of the biggest mistakes that Tennessee has made in the last century when it comes to Tennessee athletics. Short of hiring Jeremy Pruitt, because that was as bad as it gets. We won't forget about that. We had to take a jab there. And also Butch Jones taking Jarrett Garantano over Trevor Lawrence. That's besides the point, guys. I just think that, it's not like we're talking about a guy who, just brought you back to the college football playoffs like a Josh Heupel. We're talking about a guy that made Tennessee the staple of college baseball. And won you a national title a couple years ago and is consistently recruiting at the highest of highs, the number one class in the nation, like I said, 2 years in a row. They've been torn on the decision. Like I said, it's been a weird last few days. They had the open scrimmage 2 days ago where Tennessee fans just amaze me every day, man. They didn't have 1,000 people there at once, but they had hundreds, close to 1,000, I would say, of people coming in and out of that game. I was myself being one of them, and I see it as I live on campus here. I'm recording this in a dorm right now. I saw all those people coming in and out of that game on 40 minutes notice. It's ridiculous. Tennessee fans are one of a kind. They have that. Vitello interacts with the fans, tells them he loves them, all that good stuff. I kind of thought that he was going to leave the whole time. But again, just a weird couple of days. So now, what do you do now that he's gone? We can sit here and mope and say that we don't like the decision Danny White made and that we wish he was still here. The guy made his decision. It's the best one for him. It's incredible. He's making history. Give it up for Tony Vitello. You will be missed. No doubt about it, but what's the action that you take? Well, the Vols named their interim coach oh my goodness gracious. The interim coach was named for the Vols, and pitching coach Frank Anderson has some time as a head coach at Oklahoma State a few years ago, a little while ago. But who is going to be your permanent hire? The most common name thrown out there is a guy in staff, and Josh Elander played his ball at TCU as a collegiate player, has been one of the head assistants since Vitello got here. Has been one of the heads of recruiting since Vitello got here. So two very good things to have there. And Tennessee fans have made it very known. Danny White, don't overthink this. Make the hire. Again, I'll get to this at the end. Everybody wants him. You know what I'm saying? Old Tennessee baseball players are reaching out that have been here in the Vitello era, saying that this is your guy. Former players like Hunter Ensley, Christian Moore, Drew Beam have already spoken out, tweeting at Danny White saying this is your guy. Christian Moore saying, thank you, Coach V, for everything you've done. You've brought this program, players, and fans nothing but joy, and we are all grateful for it. I look forward to seeing Coach Elander take this role. There isn't anyone who deserves it more than he does. He's the glue to it all. Go Big Orange. It's hard, when you hear the guy who's been the best Tennessee baseball player of the since I've been alive. Sorry, he's one of the better Tennessee baseball players of all time. Christian Moore, a first-round pick, now playing for the Angels and is crushing it at the MLB level as well. It's hard not to believe that Christian Moore knows what he's talking about. And again, guys like Hunter Ensley and Drew Beam also saying the same thing. And Tennessee fans want it as well. He was the first name that came into mind for me, for everybody on this campus, as a guy, again, who lives on campus, hearing people talking about it on campus. Josh Elander seems like your guy. And I'm going to say this right now. I think that if I think that is the most logical hire that there is. I don't know what else there you need. Josh Elander is your guy. You keep the recruiting. You keep things in-house. I think it will be a well-oiled machine with Josh Elander at the helm, and they will contend for a national championship still being one of the best teams in college baseball. If Danny White doesn't make this hire, and he tries to go get a guy like the coach at Oregon, or go get one of his guys like a Marshall or a UCF, a Josh Heupel and Kim Caldwell situation, I think that is the nail in the coffin on Danny White wants it to be his show. And it is his show. He is the athletic director at the University of Tennessee, the everything school, all of these things that Tennessee, gets the praise for. But this hire should be so easy to make. Josh Elander is the guy. And I just hope that I don't want to say his ego or his pride, because I'm not trying to take a shot at Danny White. Again, I think he's a very good AD. But I also think that, he wants it to be his guy. We've seen it with Kim Caldwell and Josh Heupel. He wants it to be the guy he chose. He did it all. He made that hire, and he is going to end up to be really good. That's exactly what Danny White wants. I just think that would not be smart whatsoever. I think that this roster and this program wants Josh Elander. I've talked to a guy on the baseball team, and he has told me, it's been a weird week with Vitello, but Elander's their guy. There's not much overthinking it here. Again, they named the interim as Frank Anderson, the pitching coach, a little bit of an older guy. Josh Elander on the younger side, he will be your guy for the future. This is not going to happen again. I think Tennessee is one of the best jobs in college baseball. It's not one of those jobs where you pack up and leave for a better one. And you're not going to lose another coach to the MLB. It's never been done before. I just think that this, I'm kind of rambling here. I think that this is the hire. There's no beating around the bush. I hope Danny White makes that hire, and I hope that it ends up being the right one, and which I think and most people think that Josh Elander will be the hire. Now, let me know what you guys think in the comments of who you want to see, excuse me, as Tennessee's next head baseball coach. How do you feel about the Vitello? I know some people are kind of sour about it just because we've heard so much of the, you're either a Vol or you're not speech from Tony Vitello after they won it all. And he's been all Vol. There's no doubt about it. He turned this program around. It's very sad seeing him leave. But again, I think it's what's best for him. He's making history, and you cannot be mad at the guy. So to anybody who's mad at him, I don't think it's justified. He is all Vol, and he will be a Tennessee legend, and he is a Vol for life, a VFL. But again, let me know what you guys think about him leaving in the comments, who you want to be the next head coach, and let me know, if you think Danny White, is going to make this right hire, what you think about Danny White. I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, on Instagram, about, taking some shots at Danny White. There's just some people that aren't going to be happy with this because he is arguably the best coach in the program and in his field in general. So, let me know in the comments. And make sure you guys are back here tomorrow on Friday, where we will be talking football and basketball, a lot of football because it is football season. But we will also hint at some basketball as a big exhibition this weekend against Duke on Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time in Thompson Bowling Arena. Again, make sure you guys are back here for Friday. I appreciate you guys for joining me on this Thursday edition of From the Bench. It's usually been football. It has been really since May. It has been since college baseball last ended. There's a lot going on in Tennessee athletics, so sometimes that calls for a change. But I appreciate you guys for listening, regardless of what I have to talk about. I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. I'll see you tomorrow, and go Vols.